of us have makeup.
Yeah, none of us have makeup, chat. Hello.
Hello,
Hey, chat.
and welcome to.
Warning, I am operating in 3 hours of sleep. Please don't judge me.
Yeah, he is currently
This is
operating at.
definitely yeah, this is definitely our cursed episode for this season. So
Yeah,
Shadows is the stream manager and he's currently very sleep deprived.
yep,
You may notice that there's only four of us this time, and that's because the lazy gerbil has COVID. So we hope he gets better, but also
yep,
he's not conscious right now,
yeah,
and we decided just to
yeah,
let him sleep rather than do this because he needed it. Um,
yeah. Like on, I think like Thursday or whatever it was. Jeb was like, I got COVID, but I can still do the Sunday games, and the rest of us like, can you though?
Well, given the three of us have had COVID, and I was like that when I had COVID, I stared at a wall for 2 days, not realizing it wasn't a television.
I was perfectly fine when I had COVID. I was just like, all right. I think I was playing. Uh,
So yeah, he's hoping Gerbil returns to the land
Yeah,
of the conscious
I think I
eventually.
missed
But
every single TTRPG I had the week I had COVID.
yeah, that's
Takes
understandable.
a lot for me to miss a TTRPG.
The thing that actually got my mum to get me to do a COVID test was we were having takeaway pizza, and I left half of it, and I never ever leave pizza if I can at all help it. And so in
yeah,
fact I
I've
left
been
half of my
forced to leave
pizza.
pizza to not eat as much, and it's draining on my soul.
I know it's like such an
yeah.
anathema
So
concept. Yeah,
yeah. So
that was the
anyway,
thing that prompted getting the test.
dragging the show back onto topic. Like we're literally right off the bat here. Hi,
Anarchy.
I'm Deuce Dan, and you're watching Capricorn 3, a Mage 20 show set in a world of darkness. I am, as mentioned, Deuce Dan, and these nerds are Sarah. Who are you, and what do you do?
Sarah Conquistadora de la Estrella on Twitch and YouTube. You can also find me on Instagram on Deceptive Soul 15, but that's basically just going to be mostly roller skating stuff because that's pretty much all I use it for. Um, uh, yeah, I'm also the storyteller for this, and honestly, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen because I'm having to just sort of move plates around because I was expecting to have four people because he said he would be there despite the fact that he probably shouldn't have because I know what it's like having COVID.
Yeah, so we may end up doing an impromptu nightmare episode where we do the things that Gerbil's character was meant to do. Ryan, who are you and what do you do?
It's fine. He just gets locked in the med bay again.
Wow, shadows. Wow, shadows.
The joys of having a faulty ship. The storyteller can just be like, so yeah, the door jams, and
I mean, I actually have a solution given that he did something last week that I was not expecting, so I can just write him out the story for a couple of episodes because of that.
Yeah, we could just be like, he's having a bit of a psychotic break because he connected with an alternate self.
Yeah, we can do that. We can get to that in more detail in the recap. Yeah, so Ryan.
I am Ryan David Bell. I am a player here, currently playing Stephen Wills, the best boy. And on my channel, Ryan9940, you can find me being the Morphing Master for my was meant to be weekly, but we're now taking 2 weeks off because real life is the worst. Power Rangers RPG. Last session, my Rangers fought their first proper monster based on the Jackalope. They did not like her. And, yeah.
I mean, it would be admittedly kind of weird if they did like the monster you were fighting, and that they were fighting.
Oh no, it's just like if it's a really good encounter or a really fun monster, then it can like you can enjoy it and still be like, this was horrible.
Well, they enjoyed fighting it, but they're like, the personality and its power we want to kill you for. Pretty much.
Okay, it was one of those.
Pretty much the ability the creature had was if they failed their save on their turn, they had to jump their full movement speed in a random direction. And the frontline fire failed her save and kept having to jump backwards away from the monster, away from punching range.
For more, go see the stream.
I can see that. I can see that just being annoying. Yeah.
Shadows, who are you? What do you do?
I'm,
apart from try to stay conscious.
trying really, really hard to not fall asleep right now.
I can see 'cause
The
your
battle
eyelids
is a
are
losing
going-
one.
Oh, you bastard! I was taking a
So-
drink.
Entertain me, and maybe I'll stay awake.
just start playing. Robbie Williams starts playing.
I have no idea what that is. I'm very
Let me
confused.
entertain you is one of his songs.
Yeah.
Je ne sais pas.
You just turned into a mole for a second. Like,
I play the goodest boy, Dad now. Hopefully,
Dad now.
see,
no one dies. I don't know.
now you're in the. Now Raynell is getting to experience being a new dad. He's got no sleep whatsoever.
Here's the thing. Steve.
Wait, hold on. All the cameras went fuzz because
Yeah,
Gerbil joined.
Gerbil is joining.
Oh my god!
But
we
here's
have
the
a
thing.
gerbil.
No, Stephen is the best boy. Renee was the best daddy.
Do
Gerbil.
not say that
No.
again.
No,
Get
get lost. Just leave. I'll fix the
didn't
cameras.
actually-
Just leave.
I didn't actually hear what Ryan said there. Something about boy and daddy.
Sorry, I'm a little late, but if you all don't
Dude.
mind,
Dude, are you actually okay to play?
oh yeah, I'm good. I'm just not gonna turn on my camera because I look like warmed over shit.
Like
Okay,
if
I
you,
mean,
if you just need
sure.
to sleep this morning, just you don't
No,
have to do this, okay?
Yeah, you don't have to,
Wait,
dude.
I
Like,
have an
you-
idea. How about we trade? I go to sleep
No.
and you play.
No, no. If Gerbil's gonna drag his ass out of bed with COVID, you can sit there and like it, young man.
Look,
Okay,
look,
I
dude.
think we're gonna go to the break screen for a minute while Shadows.
Yeah, we got some
sorts out the
technical
cameras.
Yeah, I need well, I need a break screen first of all because apparently I never made one.
but guys,
Wow.
in all seriousness, like I have almost no symptoms. I'm good.
Oh, okay. It's
Oh,
just
okay,
kind of
then.
like, oh, that's actually
I-
pretty decent. That's better than it was for me.
Oh yeah, like What happened
This
with
is where
me
Gerbil
is-
just gets paler and paler throughout the show, and then halfway through he just collapses off the chair.
what happened with me is that one night, literally all the symptoms I could have happened, and I had the
Oof.
worst pain in my fucking life. And then the
Ouch.
morning after, I was completely fine.
Okay,
Huh?
we're gonna go to the start screen because it will take me too long while half asleep to do a break screen.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Sorry, everyone.
there's gonna be no music because that takes time. We're live again. Sorry for that.
Hello.
Camera fixing took time.
Are we going to do the whole intro again for a second time?
No.
We just
No,
have-
the recording's not stopped.
In that case, Gerbil, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Gerbil. I'm an internet ghost who has COVID at the moment. This sucks. I'm playing McClellan.
Our doctor is ill. This does not bode well.
Yeah, you're in for a treat.
And someone in our Discord did just say, "You guys know we can take a week off, right?" No, that's
No, we
illegal.
can't. That's not how streaming works. It's not how any of this works.
Yep.
Annoyingly.
I may be taking 2 weeks off my stream because of real life issues. Doesn't mean we can do it here.
Well, it's also
Yeah.
like if you we don't have the size of channel or following to actually do that. We have
Yeah.
like 10 people watching at maximum.
Yeah, and half of them are us.
No, only 2 of them are us at the moment, which is actually quite
Fair.
good.
Fair.
We are up to 8.
Fair enough. But in like in regards to that though, like I don't want to take a week off just because episode 10, which will presumably be the finale, will fall at the end of the year for this channel. So we'll be taking our Christmas break right after, and then coming back with 2 new shows. Which there's an announcement for you.
Also, Doozer, I'm gonna
yes.
I'm gonna poke you about this one. Gerbil gets a pass because he's ill. Join the fucking Roll20.
Well, oh my god! Wow! How? I was. Look, I was doing everything else. Shut up! Get off
I had
my
a panic attack. I thought I wasn't in the Roll 24 second there, but I'm like, oh no, I am. I'm good.
lawn.
I'm
There you
the
go.
good.
Is your name Doozer, Ryan?
I know, but you telling Doozer, for a second I was like, wait, did I remember to join?
Anyway, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so,
I know that. I know that
but
anxiety. Just like,
because-
oh shit, have I
because-
done the thing?
Look! This week is our cursed episode. Okay, let's
Really
just,
is.
Let's just accept that this week is a cursed episode, and just move on with that. We need to come to terms with it. Accept the 12 stages of grief, and
But
No, I'm gonna be mad about it.
And move.
my issue is I never move past denial.
Well, you
Wait,
you
I
could
mean,
just
it's a
take a
lovely
bow
way-
and go across.
You're stuck in Egypt. Anyway,
we all have
um,
the same and sort of attempt at a joke.
Okay, I know y'all are meme lords, but I thought you had standards.
I am
What
under
fucking-
3 hours
what-
of
what-
sleep,
wait,
buddy.
wait.
What standard?
Jebble, what fucking channel have you been on?
Remember
Look at him.
Lauren Tennant, the cake
Yeah.
of meme shit lord.
anyway, but before this just becomes the 4-hour chatting shit stream, this is the World of Darkness show. World of
Doozer, who's
Darkness.
Yeah,
What?
I was going to say you do the recap once you've done the disclaimer.
Wow, rude. Anyway, this is the World of Darkness. The World of Darkness is an adult setting with adult themes, most of which are horror related. If you find something disturbing or unsettling, please do step away and take a break. Your mental health is always more important than this show. Self-care is best care. Other than that, our characters are individual characters and not the players. And they may do and say terrible things. In this instance, you don't hate the player, but you do hate the game.
Oh, alternatively to that Stephen is actually a rather upstanding person most of the time. I am a terrible person. So give Stephen the credit for being a good person.
Anyway, so I think that's if you feel like if for some fucking reason if for some reason this clearly cursed bullshit episode convinces you we're deserving of your support, you might want to head over to patreon.com/The Explorers League. where you can support us. £1 is the supporter tier. £5 is for early access to the after shows and session zeros, and the £10 tier is for GM notes and character sheets. And we also have a Twitter, we have a YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like and share and comment, as that helps with the algorithm going burr and all that. And I do believe that's everything.
Have we lost a Shadow? Or did he just turn off his camera?
Shadows.
He said he'd be going for a water break and that he'd be back in an hour.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shadows. I'm gonna feed your character to one of the space monsters.
So this entire episode is just going to be Steven and Winters dealing with their bullshit, right?
I mean, it seems
I
it seems
so.
that we're the only ones who are actually compass mentis, so
Anyway,
Alice is also here, but you know, we just put her in the corner.
well, no, she is currently going through a lot because yes, go for the. What have you got in your head?
Shadows.
what the fuck have you got in your head?
Fucking really, Shadows?
Yes, fucking really. Anyway, recap. So last week, stuff and things happened. The end. This week, last week, McClellan decided to have a quite literal meeting of the minds with his alternate self, and conversations were had. Dadnell met his daughter in person for the first time, and Alice found out that her sister has been dead for a decade, and that the person she thought was her sister is an imposter who has been using her sister's form and memories to deceive Alice. Alice's world has crumbled. So I think that's everything. Just very brief, because
yeah, because we are 20 minutes in because of the cursed nature.
So anyway, Koozle, let's start off. We ended with Alice doing a little bit of landscaping on Mars, and then one of the entities putting its hand on her shoulder afterwards, after she let all that grief and anger and sorrow and everything out. So that's where we ended, with Alex just looking at this monster.
We'll cut back in there, but after that specific scene has been like resolved, there's going to be a bit of a time skip because you know things are actually kind of allowed to happen in more than 3 days. Because otherwise, I was getting the distinct impression this entire show would take place over the sort of in-game course of like 3 days. So I'll get to that afterwards. So yeah, Alice, you're standing in the plains of Mars. You've just Fusro-dad some of the mud and dust into finer dust. Turned around and there was one of the sort of shadow spacesuits just put a hand on your shoulder and just offered you your own companion, which is Blorb.
Yeah, Alice takes Blorb, and she just looks at Blorb, and looks at the entity, and just thank you. And she looks at the ship, and she looks around Mars, and her eyes settle on the Capricorn 2 in the distance.
Yeah, you can just about see it. It's like far enough on the horizon that it's quite distant, but you can still just about see it.
She looks at Blorb, and she just says, "Do you think we should go there to check out the Capricorn 2?"
Blorb gives you a shrug emoji
happened?
as a gives you a shrug emoji, and then just gives you a question mark.
I suppose if I started going there right now, they'd stop me, wouldn't they? Let's go back inside. And she looks at the entity and just says, and no, she just gives them a quizzical look, but she doesn't say anything. She just goes back into the airlock, and she goes to one of the cameras that's on the ship, and she looks into it, essentially looking Lauren in the eye, and she just says, "Did you know?" No. Wait, sorry. She says, "How long have you known? How long have you been hiding this?"
About 20 minutes. I found it while I was hiding in my data stacks.
Oh, why were you hiding?
I couldn't bear to watch you die again.
I think that actually makes her laugh, but it's a very dark, humored laugh. Just, yeah. I wish you could bring her back. And she just walks away. And she winds her way through the ship and finds the captain. And she just says, Did you know? Before we came on the ship.
You interrupt the captain at her desk. She's actually just going over some paperwork, essentially catching up now that things have started to calm down a bit.
Yeah.
She's now catching up with all the various things that people have been doing while not remembering what's going on.
Yeah, and everybody who's awake would have felt a tremor, and a very, very light seismic event, which is probably unusual for Mars.
At least in this part of it, there are some times where it will just quake and collapse, but that's usually cave systems collapsing themselves.
For clarification about what the captain would know, McClellan just
Well, no. It's entirely possible the captain knew from the start. It's entirely possible she knew before we came aboard the ship. All the information on the ship, the captain would have access to, including the knowledge of the death of her sister.
From McClellan, what she would get is Dr. Mack is on medical leave and is not to be disturbed.
Yeah. Everyone got that over the intercom.
You see her just at her desk, and she looks up as you come in.
Yeah. Did you know?
Are you still in your spacesuit, or
She's taken her helmet off after coming in. She's
still got the rest of it on.
Yeah. Did you know?
No. What, Doctor?
About my sister. And she goes to a terminal and she brings up the file on her sister and shows. I've been talking to somebody pretending to be my sister for a decade. I didn't even realize. I don't have mind or life, I couldn't tell. And they've used her form and her memories.
Well, it doesn't even necessarily need to be magic that can do that. We now live in an age where a computer can recreate the imprint of someone left behind. And then all someone else needs to do is access that computer.
But why keep this from me? And you didn't answer the question, did you know?
Someone up in the higher ups of the Void Engineers, now the Engineering Guild, figured that you would be more productive if it was kept from you. I don't know.
There is. Pardon?
I don't know who that is. I was given crew manifests and background information, but that's about it.
She just gives the captain a hollow look. Just, do I seem more productive now? If you had just told me, I could have said goodbye. I could have grieved. I could have moved on in the 10 years since. Now what do I have? There's nothing left waiting for me back home. There's no reason for me to continue. I have nothing left.
Do you want to die on Mars?
Then there's that dark chuckle and she's like, Lauren would just bring me back. And I don't want to die, I just want to know why she died, why somebody thought gaslighting me for a decade was a better choice than letting me say goodbye. I want to know why somebody has the nerve, the audacity to make these kinds of decisions. They don't have the right. I just want to say goodbye.
She actually she reached through the report that you've handed to her, and she actually just brings up her own tablet, types in a couple of commands. You see her typing in the captain's security key. And she brings up another file which is identical to the one you handed her, but without all of the redacted marks.
Oh shit!
She just offers you her tablet to read it, and
she does.
The stuff that was redacted was actually that something in the Capricorn research labs for the propulsion systems had broken through containment and gone on a rampage, and then they keep mentioning it as both the dimensional wellspring and the power source. That's all it's ever referred to. However, you actually notice that the detailed notes around Annie's death are much more graphic than even she died saving others. It's like, no, the full report states that she physically enacted procedures corresponding with life and forces to propel everyone else out of the lab before she initiated the lockdown and the self-destruct.
At least she died a hero.
The reason it was kept from you was the same it was kept from everyone else. Technically, we're in breach of several protocols with the Engineering Guild and the Technocratic Union, just discussing the fact that the power source escaped.
Consider me thoroughly scandalized.
Well, keep in mind that there are procedures in the technocracy that can scan someone's memories, and now that you know that the power source exists and that I've shown you, we are in danger if we ever get back to Earth.
No, if we get back to Earth, the people that hid this from me and did this to my sister, they're the ones in danger. And I think she turns and leaves. And she's not in a good place.
And as
You actually see just before the camera sort of fades out, Alice doesn't see this, but Commander Harahan was reaching for her pistol just as you said that before you turned to leave.
Oh no, she's not. She doesn't blame the captain. Like, unless unless she finds out the captain was one of the people who decided to keep that from her, she's got nothing against the captain. Like, it's not the captain's fault. The captain was following orders, so it's not
I mean,
the
she
captain's
decided
fault.
to follow orders. She could have not
Yeah, I
followed
know,
them.
I know.
But yeah,
Okay.
so the captain was reaching for her pistol
Yeah.
that Alice didn't see. After she leaves her office, she puts the pistol back in its holster and just goes back to work.
Yeah, and Alice, I think she goes to Raynell after that, and hands Raynell the fully unredacted file, and it's just like, we need answers. Like, what the hell is this power source? What? Like, I'm assuming this means then the fear drive was a sentient thing acting as the power source, right?
Or something was plugged into it. That was
Was
the power
that the
source.
drive for the Capricorn 2 or 1? Because it just said the
Capricorn 2 was the
Capricorn.
fear. The Capricorn 2 was the fear drive. The Capricorn 3 is the hell drive. The Capricorn 1, the one that exploded on the launch pad, right as they were about to actually ignite the engines. Given that this report is from before the Capricorn 1, you would suggest that this was the original intention for the power source for the Capricorn 1. However, they then had to go with another route after this thing, whatever it was, escaped.
Oh, so she
Yes.
was meant to.
This has no link to the 2 or the 3.
I know, but it's interesting.
Also, I like the fact that you're on one side of the locked bulkhead that is the computer core, and Raynell's just talking through the window.
Yeah, she's just holding it up. Well, no, actually, she'd send you the file, and then I don't know. I think after that, she's just, because the time skip's about to happen. She just looks at Lauren and says, "When we leave this planet, if we manage to get back home, we're gonna bring you with us. Just, I'm not gonna leave anyone else behind." And then she goes to her workroom, her workshop.
Yeah, and
Lauren, I think it's time for me to take my long overdue naps in quick succession. So,
she doesn't
yeah.
say anything.
He knocks out.
Yeah.
Initiate program, do not disturb.
Yep.
Yeah, and so before we do the full time skip, can everyone give me a, let me just bring up what it is. Can everyone give me a,
Can I give you a sleep roll instead?
Everyone just roll me a D10, difficulty 6.
Roll D10 for survival.
Sorry, what are we rolling?
Just a simple D10. Difficulty 6.
Yep.
Okay.
I rolled a 10.
Mac and I tied on a 9.
Oh, yay.
By the way, you guys can hit the dice button on the sheet, and it'll do it for you.
Yeah, but that's work and effort to find that button.
It's
literally right. Yeah, that goes character sheet, primary,
left.
dice.
Meh. Done it now.
No, that means I have to open up my character sheet, and that's the whole effort.
You don't have it open?
Yep. Oh no!
I've not needed it open yet.
I just that's the first thing you do. You open the character sheet.
All of us passed except for McClellan.
Which kind of makes sense.
In that case, actually, yeah, about 5 days passes. Things are actually fairly quiet. Every now and again, you'll see an entity either outside or inside the ship. You're still not entirely sure how they're getting in, but now that Alice has told you, don't attack them and they'll be fine.
Well,
They kind
she's
of just
also
sort of
told
leave
them
you
that she saw one walk through a wall. So
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten in after I installed the commander's field thingy.
I'll say that happened fully once you've like fully debugged it and everything. Basically the day after the last episode took place. If that makes sense. Like it basically took you a day to fully set it up.
So
And in that
that
and
still
in that
doesn't answer
day,
my question.
In that case, for the day while you were still setting up, you would see them walking around the corridors every now and again. After the shield, the frequency goes down, but every now and again one of them just manages to slip through. But you do see that they're more kept out because they would be like stuck around airlocks or something.
Okay.
May I say something that Seymour had done during the 5 days? When he saw one of these creatures? He would have gone outside and written the Mars sand, friend, question mark?
Yeah, so as I was describing it, like over about 5 days, you've seen the entities kind of wandering around after Raynell actually fully installed the commander's sort of ad hoc module. They would kind of they decreased in their ability to get through the ship. They wouldn't be able to pass straight through the hull or anything. However, they would be able to get in if a door was open because that's part of the shield. Is basically it's attached to the physical doors now. So basically, you then kind of got into the point of having to make sure that doors were locked every time you went in or outside into Mars proper, because it's like fuck, we have to close the door, otherwise the shadow suits get in, and then we have to spend another 3 hours chasing them out, and it kind of sort of settles into just a mild nuisance rather than like an existential terror.
It's very much my neighbor's cat keeps running into my house energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what happens after.
It's having to get something to make the cat flaps lock the cat flaps so that the neighbor's cat can't come in.
It's
So
to use a modern example, it's like the latest Buzz Lightyear movie. The fines were annoying to start off with, but then after the month time skip, they're just like, oh, there's another fine in the base. Time to cut it.
Yeah.
So
on the I'd say on the fourth day, actually, you all wake up and things have calmed down enough that you can actually start going back to your regular rotas. So you have your 8 a.m. briefings, basically just discussing the condition of the ship, discussing now that most things of it are repaired, aside from the missing pylon and the Hell Drive control room, which you still haven't actually been able to find yet. It's now just discussing what do we do now? Like how do we get back to Earth? What are the ramifications of now being a splinter faction of the Technocracy and that kind of stuff.
How's Winter sticking to that, or is she not in the meeting?
She's not in the meeting when it comes up talking about the technocratic, talking about the engineering guild.
Okay.
She's usually dismissed. Basically, the way that the staff meetings work is that there's the overall briefing, and actually you see Castillo appear at a couple of them. You don't know what he's been doing because he's been kind of disappearing every now and again, and even Winters doesn't really know what's going on with that one. But you then see that the non-enlightened personnel get dismissed, and then you guys are kept on, and then have further discussions about enlightened stuff.
Didn't Castillo get thrown with the, or was it someone else that got thrown with the control room?
That's Artea. Artea you've not seen since the crash.
Okay.
Castillo was the one who was disappearing inside his spacesuit.
Ah.
However, on at the time of I'd say day 4, coming around for 8 o'clock. Everyone goes to the meeting. McClellan, you actually turn up to the meeting because it was scheduled, but you come in not really knowing what's going on. You still have the message play. Everyone still has the message playing at midnight every morning because nobody's actually turned it off yet. So that's McClellan's only hint that something has gone awry, because he comes in and McClellan, you have no memory of the night before. As you're sort of heading down to this actually, yeah, in that case, yeah, it would be like midnight, and you wake up you wake up to the message of we're in a time loop. And this is news to you for your perception. You felt like you've just been fed into your etheric refinery again.
And his first instinct is to go to his tea set and make himself some tea. He sees a note, grabs it, and then all his memories come back to him.
Yeah, you're missing a couple of days just because wonders don't update unless you constantly update them.
It would have been he would have updated him, so at most he's missing a day.
Yeah, in that case, yeah, you're missing a day, but you're getting most of it back, and you just have that single gap. But you do eventually turn up to the staff meeting, as its normal time, and you still don't actually know what happened last night.
Alice, for her part, has spent the last 4 days. She has turned the workshop into a temporarily accelerated area and invested quintessence to make it permanent. And she has been working as much as she can on building Lauren a body. She's been consulting Raynell on building a brain specifically, and also on the more complicated aspects of Shadows. You're the worst. On the more complicated aspects of constructing a completely ambulatory machine, a robot that has the same kind of physical movement and ability that a human would have, or a humanoid would have. And she has been consulting Lauren regarding how she wants her body to look and what she wants her body to be able to do, etc. But it has been adamant the entire time that we need, Lauren's brain needs to be advanced enough that we can get 100% of Lauren into that brain. Because if we leave any part of Lauren behind, we're leaving that part alone on Mars to suffer forever.
Yeah, so that would have been part of like your sort of meeting updates of essentially just here's the progress I have made on the autonomous frame as part of basically now that things have sort of settled down to some semblance of normality. Actually, McClellan, just going back to when you went to your etheric refinery and picked up the post-it note of all of your memories, can you give me a perception awareness test, please?
Difficulty
6, but you're going to need at least 2 for it to succeed. Oh, yeah, unfortunately, you don't quite manage it.
You can spend a willpower for an extra success.
Before the roll.
Oh, okay.
I will say, Gerbil, do you want to spend a willpower and just we can retroactively that one though? Yeah, it's supposed to be before the roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, you get the 2 successes minimum, and it's as you're reaching for the post-it note, you notice that your hand looks a bit different for just a couple of seconds, or maybe even just like a fraction of a second. It doesn't look like skin and nails and stuff. It looks more like ink before it just sort of as you reach out to touch the post-it note, it then turns back into skin again. And it's kind of one of those, did I imagine that? But you got enough successes, so it's like, no, I did actually see that. That wasn't just me sort of waking up, not sure what's happening, and just kind of imagining a thing before my brain fully kicks into gear.
My life is slowly turning into a horror video game. He just says that quietly to himself and picks up a post note and gets all his memories back. And
Yeah.
once the meeting is done, he walks up to the captain and goes, "Okay, two things that you probably should know. One, Raynell has the ability to open small portals back to Earth. And two, I died yesterday."
Yeah, this is after the two. Actually, yeah, Castillo was there today as well. So this is after the two pilots have been dismissed, and it's just the five enlightened personnel around the table, and it's just the captain is silent for a couple of minutes at the just very sort of casual way of saying, "I died yesterday."
Two notes. One, Raynell is the computer screen because he's still locked in the computer core. Two, I don't think it would be a surprise for her, given she's also a space mage, that Raynell can teleport back home, given that she can do the same.
I also imagine she would know that McClellan died because Lauren would have brought her back. She would have probably also informed the captain.
No,
yeah.
that's actually the thing, is that she's actually a bit surprised when you just say, "Oh, I died yesterday." It's like, but nothing happened yesterday. We had our daily briefing as normal. We then went on to our assigned tasks. We met up for meals, and then we retired for the evening around about 9 o'clock. So something must have happened while everyone else had gone to sleep. Raynell, you're usually up at that time. Did you see anything?
Did I see anything, oh glorious storyteller?
Can you give me a
I mean,
I
the
think
answer is probably yes, but I don't know.
we're doing wits intelligence for memory, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, wits intelligence to try and remember things.
Maybe
Oh,
maybe our time specialist could take a look in your room.
Oh, and if it
6.
helps any, my hand was definitely ink for a good half second.
6.
Yeah, difficulty 6. You're gonna need at least 3. You're going to actually need at least 3, because if you've been spending your entire time in the computer core, you can't actually access a lot of the ship very easily. All you have is fixed cameras.
Yeah,
Uh,
Alice.
you
I'll
have the
throw
worst game of
willpower
my
at
life.
it just to,
So +1 success.
When I was playing the worst game of math.
Thank God I did.
Yeah, you are able to just get the 3 successes, and strangely, you actually look and you're kind of playing through the footage, and then you're realizing you were just monitoring people in the computer core, because there's obviously access there to all of the computer systems, because why? Well, duh. You actually remember seeing McClellan going to bed around about the time he normally goes to bed, maybe like 10 minutes later, not out of the ordinary. And then you just sort of see him dissolving on the camera. Like you sort of see him sort of collapse inwards, chest first, and then just sort of turn into dust and sort of.
Thanos snapped.
No, more like someone set off an implosion inside his chest.
If
I think
if McClellan sees that, he just says out loud, "What in the fucking Thanos?"
I think once Raynell finds the video, he just turns off his camera and plays that video as his camera.
Yes, and McClellan just says out loud, "What in the fucking Thanos snap bullshit is this?"
I want to say, Steven says out loud, I could not protect you from that one. I do not take responsibility for that death.
That's a new one.
Hmm.
And then also, this is actually the first time you're able to see what happens, or at least remember seeing what happens, because about 10 minutes later, or maybe about 15 minutes later, after watching McClellan fold in on himself and become a small singularity before dissipating, um, you see as you sort of see kind of almost like being 3D printed. You see a new McClellan being 3D printed on the bed out of seemingly the air.
And I assume that is your work. Just says that out loud, and eyes go to one of wherever Lauren's sensor in the room would be.
Oh yeah, she's basically got like a little camera on a stick at this point.
I think Renell has made her a like the failed Facebook like camera bot that follows you, but a little bit, but like increase the camera height so that it's about eye level.
Oh no, I've got it. You've made her little drone, so she's just like buzzing around.
I was going to say, obviously, Lauren just hijacks one of the goats and walks around the ship using that.
I mean, she does that a lot of the time anyway, because they're technically parts of her, so she can just immediately do administrator override for them. Yeah, so you see McClellan being 3D printed out of nothing. You also notice on the camera feed, you're thinking it must be McClellan because that's just an ink blot on the bed that's slowly turning into a human.
Huh.
And you're not entirely sure if that's just the way that the process works or if there's something else there, because this is the first time you remember seeing this.
Steve would ask for it to rewind to the point of around the point of the combustion, and he wants to look to see if anything really tiny or whatnot hit our favorite doctor. Not looking for any kind of course.
Okay, yeah.
Well, this isn't magic. There is a limit to the camera resolution.
I know, but I still want.
I can go and have a look. I can try to see.
I mean, you can actually see a fairly. At least you see. McClellan sort of turns over. He was asleep at this point, so he just turns over onto his side in his bunk. You see his eyes start bleeding about 2 seconds before he implodes.
Okay.
It's like
I forget who knows about McClellan's multiversal talk.
I think right now.
It's just the captain.
Yeah, she specifically kept it from the rest of you in the other briefings because it's like I'm going to monitor this before I tell the crew what's actually going on because I don't know what's going on, so I need more information before I can pass it around.
Yeah, I think Alice looks at it and just it's almost like a physical cascade failure. Like the body is just failing to exist. Like she's looking at like the implosion. It's like the body is just failing to exist.
I'm going to change the description a little bit. The implosion doesn't start in the chest; it starts in the head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's just a little bit I'm changing for that.
Yeah, it's like the body fails to exist. The brain first, and then the rest afterwards. I've never heard of anything like this. And Alice she'll immediately she's been updating her charms every day so she can reaccess the memories, but she does it again immediately. I think we're gonna need to start updating our memory restorers more regularly throughout the day, not just once a day.
I do my best
Because-
to do it. Steven's also going to try to, imbue his watch.
Mm.
He does look at McKellen and go, "So, Doc, what's your medical opinion on this?" And says with a sly grin.
I fucked around with the multiverse and found out.
There's just a quiet as Commander Harahan at her table is just like,
Yeah, I was just wait, what?
well,
Wait.
Doctor, you've
Can
given
you-
I was waiting until I had more information to share this with the crew, but since you volunteered, you can tell the crew what happened 4 days ago.
Can you repeat that for the camera?
Yeah, and then Alice just says, "Wait, I'm not the only one."
Sorry, you froze in the middle of that,
Alice, who me?
Sarah.
All right.
Oh yeah, so that's just Harahan just going. I was going to wait for until I had more information to divulge this with the crew, but given that I needed information to actually figure out what was going on. But since you volunteered, you can lead this one, Dr. McClellan.
Yeah,
Captain, I am physically incapable of lying, and people would know it. Would have known I would be hiding something.
Well, go ahead. You can inform the crew. I'm going to get a coffee. And yeah, she actually just gets up and goes over to like the station.
I imagine
2 sugars for me,
Alice-
please, Captain.
I imagine Alice has a gigantic cup of coffee, like the biggest possible cup.
Oh, you have actually kit bashed a coffee mug the size of your head out of pieces of scrap. It is welded
Yeah.
together. It has a handle that is definitely definitely an access panel handle, and it's just been bolted onto the side.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I need
like
that right
this-
now.
Like this,
I can
this
tell.
is because she's been working super overtime on Lauren's body, so Lauren can come with us and have an actual physical body to move around.
I'll need to step away for a couple of minutes. Just need to turn the light on.
Okay. And
Okay.
So what did you do,
Alice,
Doc?
just
No,
Alice,
hold up.
When McClellan said that he fucked around with the multiverse and found out, and Alice would have looked up at him with looking like curious, and would have said, "Wait, you know about the multiverse too?"
Anyone who's watched a Marvel movie knows about the multiverse, my dear. This is just interesting to be confirmed.
She just gives you a look and just like, no, I mean the multiverse is getting close. Like the alternate realities are getting close together.
That's news to me.
Yeah, when we were all having our meeting in the quarters the other day, I turned around and noticed that frog I'd been working on had moved from the table where I leave it to the bed where my alternate self leaves it. I looked through time and I could see my alternate self. It wasn't me because I was outside the ship at the time that she was working on it.
Excuse me, may I explain the thing?
Sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked. She goes quiet.
Okay, so important thing to start from the beginning. So the gauntlet, the thing that keeps the magic world and the magic world and the real world and the mundane and the mundane. That normally gets thicker and thicker the more into the umbra you get. Right now, the gauntlet feels like it does on Earth.
That's wait, so like the gauntlet's being pulled thin, like something's pulling it tight.
What I'm saying is that instead of a brick wall, it feels like a sheet of paper.
That's deeply concerning.
Can I?
Then what the hell is going on Earth?
So
Can Renell run his own detailed scan?
Sure. What are you scanning?
The gauntlet.
Oh yeah, because obviously you have dimensional science. So yes, you can do that.
Yes, I have quite a lot of dimensional science.
Yeah. Sorry, Trevor, were you still talking?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, sorry. I think we kind of talked over you there.
well, he is kind of quiet right now because of
Yeah.
sickness. So be careful.
Anyway, yeah, so sure, she'll let him talk.
Okay, and okay, so what I also found in the proceedings of finding that out is I saw my alternate selves in my office. And I saw one in particular doing the exact same thing. And because I thought it was a good idea at the time, I Vulcan mind melded with myself.
And Alice just face palm.
So you brain fucked yourself essentially.
There's a slow turn from Raynell away from his switch as he's casting the gauntlet scan and just goes, "You did
Look.
what?"
Well, the important question is, did you get any useful information from this very reckless act? Then we can judge you upon, the results.
I don't know, oh glorious storyteller. What information did I glean from that? From mind fucking myself.
I remember you mind melded with the one that was missing an arm, and the only fragmentary information you got from that one was Nightmare, Raynell, and Lauren. You're not entirely sure what any of that meant, but that was just somehow connected to missing an arm. It's almost like the version of yourself that you talked to wasn't really wanting to disclose the reason why they lost an arm because it's a bit of a sensitive topic.
Very, very rude of that doctor.
Yeah, and Alice is like, and Alice said, do you? Sorry, what, Jumbo?
I am explaining it because a disembodied voice in the sky doesn't tell you the information McClellan does.
Oh, also McClellan, you would also have been told that, or you would have been found out that the version of you that you talked to did not have a Lieutenant Winters on the ship. Instead, the pilot was a Sergeant Summers.
How dare you? How dare you?
Anyway, so in that alternate universe, Raynell somehow turned into one of the nightmare beasts. So, yeah, that's somehow a possibility, probably.
Wait, what? What was that? Raynell turned into one of the nightmare beasts?
Mm-hmm.
That fits with a working theory I had regarding the Capricorn too. Though I do want to point out, Dr. McClellan, do you understand? Sorry, do you understand how dangerous connecting to an alternate self is?
Yes, but I'm assuming he does. But desperate times.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't realize just like when we say the multiverse is infinite and she's addressing everyone, she's kind of going into professor mode. And she's like, when most people consider the multiverse, they consider infinite. Their brains don't really process what infinite really means. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. is a very literal sentiment when considering the multiverse. Every possible variation. And so there's a version of McClellan that is a monster, a version of McClellan that's a genocidal tyrant, a dictator. There's a version that is that is severely mentally handicapped. There's a version that's a serial killer. There's a version that just works on a farm looking after animals. There's and she might list multiple different variants. And that's just...
McCullough, may I ask you something?
Yes.
I assume when you did this, you limited the scope of your searches to your immediate environment.
The only variant of myself I was looking to interact with was someone in my office casting the same spell in the same place at the same time.
So someone with similar thought patterns.
Still extremely risky. You're lucky. I mean,
extremely risky. Miss, hey, Wayne.
Hey, that had a scientific purpose.
And what the doc did had a information gathering purpose.
I object to this evidence on the ground that it's devastating to my case.
Point being is we're all trapped in an umbral plane. Everything we do is mind-numbingly dangerous. And all we can really do is mitigate risk.
That's true.
I'm just waiting for all you eggheads to fix this, because right now, shoot good with my arm is not a useful skill.
No, but I've just had a thought. If my alternate self is able to move the frog in our reality, then that means theoretically we can communicate with our alternate selves, and we might be able to help one another get off this rock and back home. So, and she looks at the captain to see whether or not the captain vetoes the idea.
The captain has just been sort of listening to this intently, just kind of like processing all the information, trying to get take everyone's input and piece and like just compile it. It is technically possible. We might be able to send a message with, I don't know, screws spelling out letters or something. But
honestly, I think we're in a unique position, because to do this purely because of the extraordinary circumstances. We are in the deep Umbra, a place of quite literally magic made manifest. Without the gauntlet basically going, bitch, I hope the fuck you do when it comes to magic.
The other concern is that in order for the multiverse to collapse like this, the gauntlet to presumably, assuming I am in any way right, then whatever happened to create the whole above the Pacific happened in every other timeline that resulted in the Capricorn 3 being on Mars. Presumably, given that we left Earth exactly where that hole appeared, then presumably somehow our Capricorn was the catalyst, but we weren't the only Capricorn. It would have been like it would have been like 100,000 million people all punching the exact same spot on the exact same pane of glass at the exact same time. The glass would be destroyed.
So what you're essentially saying is that the creation of that tear is a nexus event that that is linking every timeline or possible
Yeah.
slash dimension that has that rift, which
Yes.
also means the consensus of every single Earth that rift is connected to is bleeding out of said rift,
Yes.
which means it is almost certain that the gauntlet no longer exists on Earth.
Mm. Yeah. And
And let me just ask this. If there's no mosquito net, what's keeping out the mosquitoes?
and if the problem that's not the only horrifying problem. The other is that tears and rips, they don't stay the same size, they get bigger, and eventually that's going to swallow Earth
Hold that
and
thought for a moment.
maybe spread out and reach us.
And McClellan is going to go outside, look at the dimensional rift with his spirit sight, and make sure the rift hasn't gotten bigger.
I'm assuming the captain dismisses him.
This is kind. She kind of said she allows this, and is like, just
Yeah.
report back as soon as you have some data.
As he's about to step out, I go, maybe don't do that. Maybe really don't do that.
Any particular reason why?
Let me share the images. Anyone with dimensional sciences might be able to understand them. I share the anti-light pictures.
Yeah, this is like a big sort of multispectral scan of both the Capricorn 3 and the Capricorn 2, because the scanners have enough range they can pick up both. And it's like for the visual representation, so that the scanners can translate it into something that you can understand, it's like looking through a bubble. And there's just these concentrated pockets of not shadow, they seem more like the antithesis of light, not just the absence of light. And yeah, even just looking at the pictures, everyone at the table gets the very sudden impression that those things can see you, and those things are definitely not friendly.
Those things are the physical embodiment of the idea of darkness.
Yeah, and those are, and they also, it's not only just the, oh, this is the fear of the unknown. This is, you actually specifically get this is staring at a predator in the bushes. That's the specific feeling you get. It's that thing in the bushes is a tiger. Has it seen me yet? Yes. Why hasn't it pounced yet?
Yeah, and have us
I am still really want to make sure that the dimensional rift in the sky hasn't gotten any bigger yet. So, still gonna go outside and take a look.
You know what Nietzsche said about looking into the abyss?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Nietzsche was a dumbass.
I feel like in this one aspect, it might really stare back.
Yeah.
Look, all I'm saying is if the rift is getting bigger, that means it is actively fucking with the gauntlet. If the gauntlet were to completely disappear while we are in an umbral fucking plane, we are mega fucked instead of just fucked. So,
A no good, very bad day.
So, I think it is worth bodily harm to make sure that we aren't about to get our souls eaten by oh, I don't know, the physical embodiment of rage or some such mystical bullshit.
Okay. Please
Just wanted
keep a
to-
com. If you keep a com channel open and describe it as you look, then as morbid as it sounds, if you die, at least we don't lose the information you gained.
Well, actually, at this point, the speaker that Lauren uses for the interface is just, can I suggest another crew member goes and investigates? I cannot bring McClellan back yet.
Hey, Stephen, want the possibility to shoot something?
Sure.
Or get shot by something.
He brings down
Steven, do you have dimensional sciences?
Question,
Mm-hmm.
GM. With Spirit 3, can I imbue Steven's gun arm with the ability to harm spiritual entities?
Yes, because it is an item, and that's what Spirit 3 lets you do. It imbues you with basically spirit touch.
I have
Lack of a better word.
how to which dimensional scientist again?
Spirit.
McClellan just holds out his hand and goes, "Arm, please." And he grabs a cup of tea, dips his finger in, and traces a literal rune on his arm. The tea glows. The tea glows, evaporates, and the vapors basically go straight up your nose. The smell is pleasant, but it's just a weird sensation.
I'm gonna say it.
Roll me for this because it is still technically casting a procedure or casting a spell. So this will be your Enlightenment Dimensional Science difficulty 4 because you have all your stuff with you. Difficulty 5 because it's on someone else, and it's always going to be a little bit more tricky to do it on someone else rather than yourself because you have to just match their pattern rather than yours. But other than that, yeah.
I'm gonna say it if this works.
Okay. Difficulty 5?
Yep.
3 successes.
Yeah, you're able to get it to work. So it won't do any additional damage. It'll just count it as the spirit, essentially, so that you can just attack spirit entities now, at least until this wears off.
So, Doc, what you're saying is with this, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. And Stephen gives you the biggest grin.
I think Alice actually head discs at that. Just
I would disparage you for that comment if I didn't love that movie.
Number 2 is Bell.
As Alice head discs, Harahan just goes, Dr. Mac, see to it that you rest up in your quarters. I've been tracking your progress, and you haven't slept in a week.
At that, McClellan grabs
she like holds up a finger and then just goes, I resemble that remark, and then just
McClellan
her arm drops to the table because she doesn't have the energy to hold her arm up.
Yeah, McClellan, what were you going to say?
Before any of that happens, McClellan grabs a thermos of tea, shoves it in Mac's hand, and basically does the doctor walk to bed and goes, as your doctor, I prescribe sleep. Go the fuck to bed.
But I've got to build Lauren an exoskeleton, and
we still haven't figured out how to miniaturize half her computing cores down to a size that won't require a subdimension to store.
I could probably help out with that, but that's a later talk.
Yeah, well, they were able to store Ultimate Pines running on floppy disk in a comic once. Can't be that complicated.
Alice lets herself be let out of the room to go to bed, not because she wants to, because she literally doesn't have the energy to.
So,
Oh yeah,
Stop.
you can't resist because it's like the.
Yeah.
so why am I?
Yeah.
Why was I given this ghost cannon arm again? Just a clarification.
I think it's because you're going to be sent outside because Lauren said, "I don't send McClellan. I brought him back recently."
I still say someone with dimensional sense needs to be the one going out because it means
McClellan has
nothing
Spirit,
if he can't see
McClellan
it.
has- McClellan has Spirit 3, dude.
Yeah,
That
I've already got
doesn't
time and forces.
Mean anything if you're not the one going outside.
We literally said I'm the one going outside.
I thought we were sending Ryan because you can't survive.
Well, I thought Ryan was going. I thought Steve was going. Wills rather was going outside to
Okay,
protect.
rolling it back.
McClellan.
I wanted to go outside. Captain said, "Here, have a bodyguard. Bring someone with you." McClellan looks to Stephen and goes, "Hey, want to shoot a ghost?"
No, it was actually more like Lauren said, "I can't bring you back. I've revived you recently."
Yeah, you can't. If you die, it's game over.
Okay, then he looks to Stephen and goes, "Hey, want to help me shoot a ghost?"
I'll do my
Okay.
best.
I think we just that's literally just a sort of mild misinterpretation of things. So yeah, I think that's fine.
Can McClellan enchant Stephen's eyes so he can see?
You would actually be able to because that is life and dimensional size.
So give Stephen the ability to very much be afraid of them ghosts.
Okay,
I see dead people.
okay, so
Yeah, Raynell's just bringing up the point that whoever goes out should be able to see that by themselves because we shouldn't be sending anyone who we can't revive outside the ship that has the shield.
McClellan actually goes, "Actually, I have a way to solve this problem." And he grabs a little bit of spent tea leaf, rolls it into a ball, holds it between his fingers, between the fingers of both hands, says a few words, and basically when he moves his fingers away, the tea becomes these two discs, and he holds it over Stephen's eyes.
Sure, give me a roll for that. In this case, it'll be whichever one is your highest sphere with this because it's a combination of life and spirit. So it's whichever one is higher would then be the one you're rolling with.
They're both. I think life is higher actually. So I'm gonna spend a willpower.
Okay.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty 5, just because it's someone else, not you. I would say in this case actually difficulty 6, because you're having to fine tune his eyes to do a specific thing that he's not otherwise able to do.
Okay, all the successes were higher than 5, so
Oh damn, yeah. Yeah, you're able to to coin a phrase from one of my previous campaigns in a different group, you managed to give Stephen concussion eyes. Which for some reason became the term for being able to pierce the veil of madness for that game, and I don't know why. It just stuck.
I think it has something to do with seeing stars floating around your head.
Probably.
It might have been.
Also,
Yeah, so
concussion is kind of brain damage, or at least close to.
oh yeah, no, concussion is brain damage. So
Yeah.
but that just so yeah, Stephen, you now have concussion eyes and you can now see ghosts.
Okay, so
How long?
With 5 successes, you can make it last all day.
So he has that all day, and with that amount of success, could I give him the ability to see weak points of spiritual entities?
Yes, actually. So if you reduce the time that it lasts for, from all day to 12 hours, then yeah, he can also then get the ability to hit the glowing spot.
I think that's worth it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I ain't staying awake for 24 hours.
So that'll last you 12 hours, and if you see an angry spirit, aim for the glowy bit.
Eh?
For massive damage.
He looks over at his Switch. I play enough Nintendo games, so get the gist.
Combo breaker.
All right, I think you're now ready for your Stephen's first scientific endeavor. Because he's actively conducting an experiment right now.
This is where Stephen walks out the ship, and the instant he steps outside the airlock, a giant abyssal finger just goes splat.
This is where Stephen is bait for the others to conduct scientific research, since I'm assuming they're all recording everything he's doing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's why Alice was saying, to describe everything as you're seeing it, so that we don't lose any data if you die, which is incredibly morbid, but
Before he walks
she's
out,
in that space right now.
before he walks out onto the surface, does anyone else have any ideas on how to make sure he stays alive?
Stephen does. He grabs his pocket watch and he wants to read up his memory spell.
Yeah, that'll be the same again. So that'll be the mind plus enlightenment, and it'll be difficulty 5.
And I'm better at this now. Fuck me.
Oof. You're able to get bits of it. I'm just gonna have this as a sort of graduating scale rather than you need, because at this point you've done this multiple times. You're essentially every time you cast it, you're getting a little better at casting it. So you're able to get some of your information. You're not able to get all of it encoded.
And once again, I hand it to Winter to return it to me upon.
You actually find her in the Tangler Bay, obviously in her spacesuit because it's still open to the elements, but you just see her actively working on one of the legs that had been partially damaged.
Hey, Stephen would say her name, but Ryan is done with names.
Mackenzie.
Hey, Mackenzie, I need you to do something for me.
She doesn't even look up. I was like, hand me that wrench.
I handle it.
Yeah,
and I'm tied around it is the watch.
She kind of looks at it, looks at the watch, looks up at you this time, is like, memory troubles?
They're sending me out, and I may get eaten by giant shadow monsters.
That is a...
McClellan walks in.
You're taking Alice back to her room.
Yeah, this is happening at the same time.
Boo.
Also,
Okay.
because these guys are outside anyway, so they're in spacesuits. This is literally just before Stephen sets off the actual experiment.
So I think if I understood the eggheads correct, something about trying to get readings on Earth and stuff. I don't know. It was above my pay grade.
What exactly am I supposed to do? Like, you say this like this is normal. It's clearly not normal, Stephen.
I know.
What am I supposed to do with this information other than you handing me a watch and it somehow helps you remember?
That's all you really need to know. Again, apparently apparently there's a book that can help you understand this shit that the doc has.
Yeah, I've been having a look through it. It's very dry. It reads like stereo instructions.
Yeah. For me, I just grew up in a school that taught me all this shit, which made it easier.
That somehow seems worse. Can you imagine high school with, and then she just gestures to you?
Not just me. I recently found out I was a clone, so it was me and a lot of me's apparently.
She pauses. She has a spanner in one hand and a wrench, and like she has like
It's a good thing I'm in this suit. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure you would beat me with those.
yeah. So she has the spanner you handed her in one hand, and she has like a screwdriver in the other because she's like she's repairing some of the circuitry before attaching the panels back on, and she just looks at you. Try not to get eaten, Stephen.
I do my best. And honestly, I just feel. I know it's weird, but I've had to keep secrets and bullshit like this for the past 25 years of my life. So just being able to, just flat out be truthful about this shit, it's really cathartic. Cathartic? Whatever that word is.
Cathartic. And
Thank
she just sighs, taps the spanner against her helmet, and just goes, "If it helps you cope in this situation, I'm not going to stop you, but I need to fix this."
You're still the best at fixing shit.
She also doesn't believe you as anything you're saying. She's just kind of like, okay,
I
he's
know.
clearly going through some stuff. I'm just going to let him do his thing.
Yeah, I know. Stephen knows that's the case, but either the book in this is going to help her awaken and she'll understand it sooner or later, or it's just helping him. It honestly is a coping mechanism at this point. I can just tell her whatever the fuck I want, and no one's going to yell in my ear.
Yeah, because it's also like she's still at the point where she's just like, okay, you're spouting just utter bullshit, but I'm just gonna roll with it because it's easier than the alternative.
Steve could do something with life magic and just make her see, just grow an extra finger and just be like, see what I mean? And then just make the finger go away.
That's not how consensus works, Dozer.
But it should be.
Well, because you've been doing that before, and I've always come up with a reason why she doesn't believe that is actually magic, because
The human.
yeah, Mackenzie will basically come up with any excuse until she's properly presented with a barefaced confrontation of magic. She's not going to believe it. She's kind of close there with the teleportation that Stephen did. However, she was more annoyed that he EMP nuked her bride.
Yeah, and if he did something like something similar, like grow an extra finger, she could easily write it off as just a mutation from experimental fucking space travel.
Yeah. So yeah, Stephen, you head outside properly. Yeah. You can actually just head out the hole in the Tangler Bay, which now that you've been here several times, it's now no longer looking partially exploded, and it's basically just been cut in such a way that it now looks intentional, because it's like we don't actually have the parts to repair it because we don't know where some of them went because they kind of exploded outwards as part of the crash.
I assume at some point we probably took another joint out to the other Tangler and cannibalized some of that shit.
Oh yeah, no. In like the last 5 days, that's something that you and Winters have actually done. There's now actually 2 Tanglers in the Tangler Bay. It's a bit cramped because there's only really meant to be one. But
we're
the other one with you.
Yeah, we're just cannibalizing each of them.
Yeah, it's pretty much just you're taking it for which parts are usable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do we do with the bodies? Did McClellan do autopsies on them?
We could retroactively say yes.
In that case, while I do Stephen's thing, McClellan, can you make me an intelligence medicine roll?
So Stephen's heading out a fair bit away from the wreckage.
Yeah, you head out towards the wreckage. You can see that there's just this furrow carved into the ground that looks basically like someone set off a directional charge and it just kind of blasted the ground, because there's just like the mud is spread out to all sides. It's kind of like a giant cone essentially.
Yeah. So Stephen does something though. He gets out a portable camera, something they can put into the ground and it'll record for a few days or something.
Mm-hmm.
He puts that down, places it, most likely on the ship. The camera turns on in the computer lab where Ronell is. And he just writes "friends?" question mark in it, and just leaves the camera running to see if anything replies to them later, after, you know. Pretty much, ghost hunter tactics. So in recording, put it on there and see if we get a reply. And then after that, he heads out to do his actual thing of get the readings and whatnot.
So you were sent out to have a look at the paradox tear across the sky, right?
Yeah, I believe that was the case. But a lot of the meeting, I'm playing it off as Stephen. It was just above Stephen's play grade because Stephen isn't scientific. But I also had to run out and grab food mid that talk, so.
Yeah, that's fair. Hang on a second, just. I'm DMing Gerbil the results of his test while we do this.
Okay. Also, because Alice said to Stephen to speak out loud and say everything he says, he is doing it in old-timey 40s detective style narration.
Of course.
Look. If you are going to specify, sir, then you have to do it. How dare you?
I'm not good at doing the old-timey guy.
Wait up or shut up.
Okay.
Pretty
I'm
much.
heading out to Capricorn 3 right now. Now, dusty, cold, red sand. Going to face my fate. No, I'm coming back. Writing friends, seeing hoping we get some kind of response. Going to walk a bit further now. Probably a good 5-minute walk away from the ship. Looking up at the sky is beautiful, but mysterious.
You just hear McClellan call over the call. Just go. You do realize you're not a Starfleet captain, right?
I'm not trying to do Starfleet. I'm trying to do detective, asshole. Don't ruin the mood. He hits the play button again, and then the sax 40s style detective music continues to play.
Yeah. As you look up, I will say, because of this, can I help you?
As you look up,
Sorry, my
an
cat's just coming
interfering
around.
cat suddenly appears.
Yeah, no, that's actually the thing. Is like I'm just like, can I help you, cat?
Now,
Are you just wondering where your people are? Anyway, yeah, as you look up, you're able to see, and yeah, the procedure that Dr. McClellan put on your eyes, it works quite well. You're able to see the paradox tear in a new perspective, and it's get off. You see it not as just a sort of oil slick across the sky, but you see it as it actually is. You see it as cracks and as tears and as sort of fractures all over the surface of the world.
yeah,
On the fabric of reality.
Stephen finds it weirdly beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's one of the get off. That is my chair. Stop clawing it. Yeah. Yeah. It's weirdly enthralling. You can't see the things that Raynell was talking about, at least not from your perspective. However, you do see you see sort of shapes moving around the tears.
I try to make it seem like I don't notice them.
These actually do not seem to be entities. From what you've experienced of entities, they seem to be quite organic and sort of amorphous, kind of. They kind of sort of flow and weave as they see fit. These are more rigid. These are more sort of defined in their shape. It takes you a moment to realize that actually no, you've heard stories from the New World Order that the Void Engineers have a full space fleet of umbral vessels. You kind of get the impression that some of these things might be Void Engineer ships that are flying around just far off, but because distance is subjective, especially when magic is involved, You're not sure how big they are or how far away they are. You can just sort of see these ships moving around. At
But
least
now-
at least until you see one of them.
Explode.
Not kind of, yeah. You're watching it, you're just kind of watching it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then you see essentially a part of the paradox tear detach from itself, sort of envelop half of this void engineer ship, and essentially clamp down like a set of jaws. At which point, half of the ship disappears and the other half explodes.
Renell, your boys and girls aren't doing that hot.
Stop clawing my chair!
Well, I suppose since we're part of the same guild now, I should say, boys and girls aren't doing so hot.
And I'm actually going to have to. Yeah, I'm going to move it.
Steven, are the tears getting any bigger?
Well, I just watched one eat a ship.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I just
What?
watched one eat. Yeah, one just ate a void engineer ship.
One? As in, there's more than one?
I think there's multiple ships, from what I can see.
So that either means the Void Engineers had other missions they didn't tell us about, or some particularly foolish Void Engineers from a different reality decided to go. You know what would be fun? Traveling through a dimensional rift.
No, the void engineers are known to have that, their little space fleet. I'm assuming they're trying to, close the rift, and whatever they were trying failed miserably because they were just eaten.
Oh yeah, it is officially known as the Umbral Defense Force. Like they style themselves as the vanguard of the Umbra.
And one of their ships was just eaten by Terran reality.
So not only is that Terran reality fucking with the world as we know it, it's also a dick.
Or it was defending itself from the void engineers, whatever they were attempting to do.
The fact that that is an option should be terrifying to everyone here.
Look, there's two options with that, with what I just witnessed. Either this thing is animalistic, and it was defending itself, which is scary, or it has some sentience, and as you said, it was a dick. Or third option, it has sentience, and it was trying to protect itself because the void engineers were. Can I come in yet?
Are the tears getting any bigger?
Not that you can see, Stephen. They seem to be fairly static, aside from the ones that sort of detach off. But they basically detach off as a tear, do a thing, and then just fizzle out. It's almost like they don't have enough energy, for lack of a better term, to sustain themselves beyond the main tear.
It doesn't seem to be getting bigger. It can detach itself a bit. I look to see if the part that's got attached just regrows at all.
No, it doesn't seem to.
It can detach parts, but it doesn't seem like those parts come back after they're dissolved. So that could mean it does have finite energy. But with how big that thing is, that's a lot of energy would have to burn. And I don't think the Void Engineers have that many ships. Or at least
Stephen, as you're
at least-
looking around, you see, you're still describing this, and it's funnily enough, as with most, as pretty much anyone, even if they're trying to focus on something, and inevitably you will just sort of drift a little, even if you're still just doing the same thing. Your kind of eyes will wander around. Can you give me a perception awareness test, please?
Can we just say Stephen passed because he's awesome?
Actually,
And
no,
and his-
you do have to roll for this one.
And his dice rolls do not match his awesomeness.
You have to roll for this.
Perception awareness, you said, right?
Yep.
Perception awareness. I'm going to be spending 1 point to guarantee a success. I
Okay.
want a success. Difficulty 6.
Yeah, difficulty 6 because it's a skill.
Fuck you and your ones. Well, I got 1 success at least.
Yep, you're able to see this. You see well, you're not entirely sure what you're seeing. It's definitely humanoid. It definitely looks like a person. They're just off maybe about 50 to 100 meters away, just sitting on a rock. They don't have a spacesuit on though. They just seem to be wearing like a loose shirt, some sort of casual trousers, and what appears to be like a waistcoat or like a jumper without sleeves kind of thing.
Can I try to?
They're just sitting on a rock, just staring up at the sky without a spacesuit on.
Can I say hello into their head?
If it's an umbral entity, you would see a glowy bit.
This is not glowing in any way.
Can I think to the thing hello
Uh,
with my mind? I have
yeah,
my.
that'd be another roll because you're actually casting it.
I know. Somehow. Pulls out my book. Roll 853. Best way to contact is to test languages. And I think into it said, "Hello, can you understand me?"
All right, roll for it. It'll be difficulty 4 because you have your stuff with you.
3 successes.
Yeah, you're able to project it as a coherent thought. It's not like cluttered with like other internal thoughts, like you know, like all the sort of random internal thoughts you have
Yeah.
normally. You're able to send it as a clear, distinct message without any of the clutter. And as you watch the figure, and it's like a sort of young-ish man, just turns to look at you and just smiles and waves.
Can you reply to me?
Doesn't appear to be able to, but they're still just sitting there on Mars without a spacesuit.
Will you attack if I get close to you? Jump for yes, stand still for no.
They just start walking towards you. They're going at a leisurely pace. Like they don't seem to be affected by the fact that Mars has lower gravity or that there's barely any air at all. They're just. It seems to them as if they're just going out for like a nice afternoon stroll.
Stephen, it's weird, but of course, recording this and waits for them to get closer. Does not walk towards them.
Stephen, do you happen to know any sign languages?
Stephen would know sign languages with military training and whatnot.
You know
would he
specifically
be-
military gestures and stuff.
Yeah.
Would he be relaying this over the voice?
Yeah, everything's being recorded. We established
Okay.
this.
Okay.
No, I mean,
I
are
just
you
wanted to make
also
sure.
are you also relaying your mental connections with your telepathy?
Probably.
Okay, yeah.
Try sunning at him.
I do not know sign language.
Yeah, the figure actually responds in near perfect sort of military battle cant.
Hmm.
But they're still
Yeah.
just wandering along as if they've just come out from their Sunday lunch and it's like
Pretty
time
much-
for a stroll and a perambulation.
Pretty much the battle cutscene would have sent sign language would be friend or foe, essentially.
Oh, you definitely get back. You actually get back the response is just non-combatant,
Mm-hmm.
as in the code for this is a civilian, don't do anything.
Once they're close enough to me, I just went in the dirt. Hi.
Oh, I think we don't need to bother with that kind of stuff.
Oh,
now, do
good.
we?
Oh, good, you can't speak. Thank God.
What's with all this get up anyway? It seems rather cumbersome.
We kind of need it.
Do we? That is rather inconvenient. It clashes with my waistcoat.
Well, okay, clearly you don't need it, but me and my friends do.
Ah, I see. You
Who are you?
can think of me as a friend.
That didn't answer the question.
Well, who I am is different from person to person.
Do you have a name that I can at least address you by?
What is in a name? Is it it's what is the significance of a specific word and attaching it to something or someone?
For identification purposes.
But it seems rather constricting, doesn't it? Just labeling them as a single thing and then they have to be that thing?
McClellan,
A name is not a thing.
But it is an idea, it is a concept.
I feel like I'm talking to death in the fucking Discworld series right now.
Those are a wonderful series of books.
McClellan calls Simon and basically does the equivalent of "please put me on speaker."
My friend wants to speak to you. Okay with that?
I assume he's somewhere else at a mystical device that does allow the communication. Yes, of course. The more the merrier.
Beep.
And McClellan's first question is, "Are you a person or a concept?"
What is a person and what is a concept? Because you be around long enough, you kind of see that they're mildly interchangeable. But
One
yes,
one dies, the other doesn't.
I perceive myself. No, that's dreadfully banal.
I guess.
I'm a soldier, but now it's kind of my thing.
Ugh.
I guess.
Oh,
To the disembodied
know
voice. To the
I
disembodied
know-
voice.
I
Are
know
you
what
perhaps
this
more interesting than your banal colleague here?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm simple. Simple.
Yes, it offends my sensibilities.
So let me.
Sucks to be you then.
Let me ask the question in a different way.
Go ahead.
Would your state of existence? No, wait, no. Are you a life form as modern science would understand it?
We're now getting into the minutia of what exactly I am. Well, no, modern science does not have a definition for me. They kind of stopped believing in us quite a while ago. But between you and me, this is the most fun I've had in ages. And think less science and more folklore.
Oh,
You're
good
fey.
Lord.
There is some spark of potential there. Maybe you're not as banal as I thought you were.
I read a lot of fairy tales growing up.
Wait a second. You wouldn't happen to be a changeling, would you?
The figure actually pauses for a moment. It's like you can see him just sort of going through something in his head. It's like, oh yes, that is what you would call the Cathane.
How does McClellan know this?
Actually, that's a good point.
His companion is a fey spirit.
Oh right, yeah, that's true. But
True.
Yeah.
My bad.
Points at Parsley.
Who is currently just lounging on a table.
So, since we're in the realm of folklore, what is the name that the common folk would know you by?
Well, that is dependent on culture and your particular linguistic sensibilities and stylings, but I believe the most common one that seems to have permeated throughout all of humanity is fairy.
No, great, I'm talking to Oberon.
Oh,
You know,
I don't like that one. He's boorish and rather rude.
Titania?
if you wouldn't mind accompanying my friend back to our crashed ship, I have a friend who her current name is Parsley. She resembles you, but is not quite you.
Well, I have to admit, you I can get along with. And she's kind of he's kind of like talking past Stephen's shoulder at this point because he's kind of assumed that McClellan is like a place like above his shoulder and is addressing that entirely. Because obviously it's just over the radio, so it's just a point to focus on. It's like that, yes, that you can converse with. You have that raw wonder, that raw sense of discovery that is so invigorating.
Keep
Nah.
that thing away from Mac and Raynell.
Oh, right. Faye subsist on. Oh, what's the term Parsley used? Glamour?
That is, well, subsisting on it is that's semantics. We can get into that later. But of course, there is more to it than just subsistence. It is the spark of life. It is the spark of creativity that certain members of your entourage seem to be lacking.
Sorry, it was being out of me.
I'm
working.
That is horrible.
I'm working on it though.
He actually does pause to look at Stephen specifically and just kind of tilts his head to one side. He's like, it wasn't completely destroyed, but it will require a lot of careful nurture and attention for that ember to become a flame again.
Yeah. What if I do get back to Earth? My first plan is I'm probably going to go on a giant fucking holiday.
Well,
You know, see the world without having to murder a ton of people.
well, for politeness' sake, I would be delighted to have you over for tea.
Ah, wonderful. That is such manners, such you truly know how to greet a person.
Mhm.
I did my best.
I find when dealing with entities beyond my understanding, it always pays to be polite.
Manners cost nothing, of course. Well, for me at least. Some of my others might be a little more particular about how you address them and how you act around them, but I don't hold truck with any of that. It seems needlessly restrictive and confining.
So even to the Fae, there's bitches at the top.
Of course, there's the High King. You'll probably never meet them.
Anyway,
I never assumed I was going to meet another Fae. The only other non-humanoid I've ever dealt with was a vampiric kind.
Oh, yes.
anyway, shall we move this conversation to more congenial setting?
I would do so love to meet this disembodied voice. Of course, that is if you have a
where am I,
body.
man?
It could
Where-
possibly just be that you're a dwelling without a corporeal form, which is
No, they have a body.
Oh, where are my manners? My name is Vincent McClellan.
for now. Simply, you there's a pause and a chuckle as he looks around.
Oh
Simply
shit,
just
names
know
of
me as-
power.
Yes, I will be merciful in this case. That is a simple error in judgment, but you may call me the Red Baron.
There's a reason I never gave my name. Why was I the smart one in this altercation? Doc.
Look, I'm British.
The Red Baron? Is that the same Red Baron from our game, Ryan? Run. Run far away and never return. Run
I'm
now.
going Red Baron because you're standing on Mars right now.
Let's just say me and Dudes had other interactions with other Fae called a Red Baron.
Ah, fair enough. Well, obviously, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
yeah.
he was one of the leaders of the Thalane.
I grew up in England, and basically they go, if you meet a Fae, be polite. They never got around to the don't say your name bit.
Well, that would be telling now, wouldn't it? However, I've taken a liking to you. I've been watching your exploits for a couple of days, I believe is the term down here. You're rather interesting, just all of you fascinating, and you're somehow both banal and glamorous at the same time. It's insane.
That's called survival.
It is quite a
Peaks and
thrilling
hills.
concept.
Anyway,
How about you give me all your Fae powers and you can, live as a mortal for a few days on Mars? See how the survival works then.
If you want to make a deal, we can discuss terms later.
nope. McClellan just goes, at the risk of sounding rude,
It's my life. I can make mistakes if I want to. Maybe this Fae can help with my memory issues.
at the risk of sounding rude, my experience and advice given to me when dealing with Fae is the bigger the smile, the sharper the knife.
But I do hope this conversation continues as we discuss tea.
Hey, can you teleport?
They kind of just look past. He looked past your shoulder again, and just like, I can possibly make my own way into your ship. It's a
Nah.
rather interesting vessel.
Hey, follow me.
Smells a little acrid, though.
That would be the warding to keep the Griblies away.
Oh no, that actually smells quite pleasant. No, there's something else underlying that is pungent.
I'm assuming it's all the metal and refined resources.
Yes, that's possibly it. Still, at least since you're the most engaging company I've had on this realm for quite a while, my curiosity gets the better of me. And he just starts walking. He doesn't even bother waiting for a response. He just starts walking towards the ship.
Yeah, Stephen follows. And he just overcomes, bringing in a guest. We've got a fairy for tea.
And with that, we will close it out for today because I realize we are actually slightly over time. So,
Why was Stephen the one that had to make first contact with the Fae?
Look, I wanted to go outside, but y'all were
This is after show talk, by the way. So let's do the outro.
There is one final announcement before we do the actual outro proper, and that is Shadows. You're not here next week, yeah?
Yep.
Yep. So Shadows is not going to be here next week. We do have a guest star on, just so we can still have the same number of people. So we can look forward to that one. Otherwise, yes, we have been the Explorers League.
I'm going to have to learn how to OBS. And this is going to be a fun experience for me. Shadows, help me.
Already?
No, Shadows, help me.
You've had 2 weeks to study this shit.
Had 2 weeks to play with it.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We've been the Explorers League. And if you want to go support us, you can do so at patreon.com/the Explorers League. And if you want to, if you want to join our Discord, you can do so in the link I just put in chat.
Did we shout out Miracle of Sound?
Oh yes, and the music you heard in the pre-show is Miracle of Sound. who's also
Oh
mage,
right,
you should
yes, we
definitely
forgot
look him
about
up.
that because of the cursed nature of the beginning of this.
Yes,
Of this.
yes,
stream.
this like you know what it is? It's because you brought the Fae in. That's
Also-
why it's cursed.
I mean,
Also,
that's
to defend Doozer, I had a month to try and figure out Streamlabs for my personal streams, and I still had to cry Shadow to come and rescue me.
I mean, the fact that
Yeah.
Dozer hasn't started to learn OBS since Blood on the Streets is my point.
yeah.
Hey, I tried and gave up. That's why Shadow started.
And also, just to add to the cursed nature of this episode, I'm infected with Nurgle's Rot, so
Yeah.
Yeah, you
so
know
let's-
what?
let's
I'm
close
actually
this out and,
surprised. Sorry.
Go for a bio break.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you all
actually.
for watching.
Thank
yeah,
you.
It could be worse. It could be worse, Jabba. It could have been Slaanesh got their tangles into you.
Kinky. Bye.
Okay.
And with
Bye.
that, we're gonna go to the end screen. Bye, everyone. This was cursed. Thank you for
Really so
watching.
cursed.